Alright guys, it's time I share my side of the story. I never wanted any of this to be online, but with everything going on and the hate that my family was receiving, I can't say nothing anymore. There's been a lot happening behind the scenes for the last 4 years with my family, and it's all stayed behind the scenes until my mother decided to release this article online. She was the one who first took things public with my family. I never said anything because I still wanted a possible relationship with my mother. I let people believe lies about me and my family. Then my mom decides to go on one of the biggest streaming platforms in the entire world and share my family's story. So now I have no choice but to defend myself. And guys, I'm not doing this to attack my mom. I never wanted for any of this to happen. I never wanted my relationship with my mother to be this way. But I feel like I have to do this for my own sake. And guys, before I get into the stuff with my mom, I wanted to make sure these 3 things were very clear. I never gave permission for Netflix to use my name or likeness in anything that they did. Tiffany also did not manipulate me into doing and making the decisions that I made. I haven't talked to Tiffany in a very long time, and she certainly didn't push me to make the decisions that I made in the past either. And also, I am not trying to discredit anyone who is a victim of in any way, shape, or form. I feel for all of those people. I'll be explaining those 3 things in way more detail at the end of this video. In the early days of my career, in the early days of my YouTube channel, which we all knew and we all loved, my mom was there, and she helped me film and she helped me edit a lot of the videos in the beginning. But she went behind my back and created a company. She signed legal documents without my knowledge or my consent to where she owned 50% of my company, where she got 50% of all revenue that I brought in, 50% of my YouTube AdSense, 50% of my brand deals. All of it. In the documentary, my mom and Jennifer said that Tiffany manipulated me into thinking that my mom was stealing my money. Tiffany never did that. I didn't need anyone to manipulate me because it was the truth. These are the bank statements of my mom taking my money. I was hurt by it. I worked hard for that money. And it would just get taken away. As time kept moving, my mom filed for divorce. And after all of that, since my mom still had control over all of my assets, she went behind my back again and created another bank account where she would transfer all my money from YouTube and brand deals into it. She grew it to over $100,000. I saw it with my own eyes on her laptop. And I never saw it again. And speaking of money, a little bit further on down the line, my mom would deny me brand deals. Not because there was anything wrong with the brand deal, but it was because she was afraid she wouldn't get a piece of it. There was this particular deal where I was offered a large amount of money, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And because she was afraid that she wouldn't get a piece of it, she said no. So I lost out on that too. So, when you hear people in the documentary saying that they were exploited, this is where I was financially exploited. By my own mother, not by anyone else. So obviously things were rocky with my family. We went to counseling, try and make things better, to try and solve things, try and solve issues between all of us. That whole experience sucked for me. It turned out it was all a waste of time. Because my mom, while we were going through counseling, had already filed for divorce. So why were we going through counseling? I have no idea. But she filed for divorce, and I had to witness my dad getting served. She left the house, and I watched it. He got served with a stack of papers about this big. I don't know why you'd want your kid to see that, or you'd want to put them through that. I was about 14 at the time. Because things were so messy with my parents' divorce, and no one could make any decisions, the court, the judge, the professional people decided that they saw fit that my sister would be my temporary guardian, which meant she could make decisions for me because I was a minor, but she could only make personal decisions, meaning about school and my well-being and my health and all these things. She couldn't make any financial decisions, anything regarding my company, because my mom still had control over 50%. And it was even worse because everything had to go through the courts. Here are emails of me trying to communicate with my mom about business expenses, trying to get things approved. None of that's normal. You don't communicate with your mom over email, but I had to. This whole thing with my mom prevented me from doing what was best for myself and what was best for myself financially. I couldn't invest my money. I couldn't buy a car for myself when I turned 16. I was stuck in a house. I couldn't move. I couldn't invest my money into property if I wanted to. I couldn't do anything with my money. The money that I was making was an incredible blessing. And I couldn't have done it without you guys, and I'm forever thankful. Because of my mom and all these difficult things that I went through, I couldn't set myself up for success with it. I couldn't give back to the people I love. Couldn't do anything. And with all that money that I'll be forever thankful for you guys for, I'd give 50% of it into a savings account for my mom to have a chance at getting. Most of it went to paying for attorney's fees. At the end of everything, to settle with my mom, I had to negotiate with her. I had to negotiate my freedom from my mother. It was never about doing what was best for me. The fact that I had to negotiate with my mom so I can go be successful, you would think that's what a mother would want for her child. But no. She, during the negotiation process, wanted $25,000 and she would leave me be. I was able, even though she is a very stubborn person, I was able to get it down to $17,500. I ended up paying $17,500 to my mom to leave me alone. That whole process that I just mentioned was so that I could emancipate myself. And that wasn't because I didn't want my mom to be my mother. It wasn't because I didn't want my dad to be my father. It was because I was stuck. I was stuck in a situation where I couldn't do anything. I was trapped. It was my only way out, and it was my only freedom. And to make this very clear, to prove why my mom was lying in the documentary, I emancipated myself a year or two after I left the squad. A year or two of me not even talking to Tiffany. So if I was not in the squad and if I wasn't talking to Tiffany, then how did Tiffany manipulate me? She didn't. I did it on my own because it was what was best for me. You can't just emancipate yourself. You have to go before a judge, and the judge has to approve it, in which he did. He thought it was the best decision, and it was what was in my best interest. One of the earliest moments or stories when my mom betrayed my trust was after a long day of filming. But I was really tired afterwards, and I wanted to go get food. My mom picked me up from filming, and I specifically asked her if I could go get Panda Express. And I asked if we could go to one with a drive-thru because I didn't want to get out of the car because I was tired. So my mom said okay, and she takes me to Panda Express. On the way to Panda Express, I see her acting really suspicious. She was driving and texting and was holding her phone by her hip, and I thought it was odd. But then we get to Panda Express. It wasn't one with a drive-thru, and she parks next to this car. And two people get outside of that car and start knocking on my window. It was my ex-girlfriend and her mother. And at this point, I wasn't on speaking terms with my ex-girlfriend. We shared a lot of good memories together, but at this point, I didn't want to talk to her for multiple reasons. And in that moment, that was the wrong way to handle that situation. As my ex-girlfriend is knocking on the window, with her mom there, and my mom's getting out of the car, I lock the car. I call my family, not knowing what to do because I can't get myself out of this situation. I'm trapped. My mom set this all up. For what? I don't know. But she did it once again behind my back without talking to me. She lied straight to my face. Now, another time, we went to Disneyland for Piper's birthday one year. Obviously, all of the squad kids were excited to go. My mom knew I was going. My whole family knew I was going. But my mom was unhappy. She decided to call the Anaheim Police Department and file a missing persons report on her son. I wasn't missing. I was with tons of adults in a safe place at Disneyland, in a nice hotel, just trying to have fun and make content. I started getting calls from the police department, not knowing what I did wrong, scared because I was young. They made me pack up all of my stuff, all of my belongings, in front of my friends like I was some criminal, like I did something wrong. I was just trying to have fun. I was crying. I didn't want my friends to see me in that situation. I had to sit outside the hotel lobby with the police officers for 3 hours, waiting for my mom to come pick me up. Keep in mind, Disneyland was only an hour away from our house, maybe an hour and a half at most, not 3 hours. I was also being recognized by you guys. I love you guys, but obviously I didn't want you to see me in that scenario with 2 police officers looking like I did something wrong. It was very traumatizing and traumatic for me. And my mom did this. No one else. My mom finally showed up. The police went and talked to her separately. They actually told her what she was doing was wrong. They told her by doing this, it was only going to push her son further away from her. Which it did. So then, my mom finally got me. She got me in her car. I was very mad at her, and she drove me 2 blocks around Disneyland and dropped me right back off at Disneyland for me to go and enjoy my day. So after she put into all that, filing a missing persons report, making me sit outside Disneyland for 3 hours, wasting my time, wasting my friend's time, she drives me 2 blocks around Disneyland and then lets me go free to go enjoy my day. None of what she did ever really made sense. And the police officer felt bad for me. He felt so bad and understood where I was coming from. He DM'd me this message. So, this next story comes pretty close to the Disneyland one. It was another low point in my life because my grandmother had just died and we were going to the funeral. I didn't invite any of the squad members to my grandmother's funeral because I didn't want to hurt my mom because I knew she didn't get along with them. And she was mourning the loss of her mother. And I respected that. And my mom went behind my back again and invited my ex-girlfriend and a few other ex-squad members. And my mom didn't tell us. She didn't warn us. My ex-girlfriend and these ex-squad members didn't even know my grandmother. I had no idea why they were there. But because of this, my sister and I never got to grieve the death of my grandmother. Because we showed up and I kept getting death stares from all these people. I didn't want to be at my own grandmother's funeral with my ex-girlfriend there. I wanted to focus on my grandmother, not all of these outside problems, but my mother didn't allow that to happen. She made it about herself again. That situation should have only ever have been about my grandmother. No one else. Part of having a healthy relationship with your parents involves trust. My mom, when our family was going through this mess, would go into my room after I would leave, and she would go through my text messages. My text messages with my girlfriend, my text messages with everyone, with my sister. She would take photos of those text messages and use them against me in court. Here are the photos on screen. There are many more instances of that happening. She also proceeded to betray my sister's trust as well. She went into my sister's room and stole her very personal diary. I didn't even know my sister had a diary. That's how personal it was. But my mom found it, and she took pictures of that as well. Pictures of things my sister had written down that she never wanted anyone to see, and used them in court against her to paint my sister in a way that she was unhealthy mentally, almost suicidal. And if anyone knows my sister, that is so far from the truth. And if you ask me, from this specific scenario alone, if anyone is mentally unright, it's not my sister. It's not me. It's the person who is betraying their kids' trust and taking photos of these things and using it against them in court. I don't see how you logically come to that conclusion. I don't see how that makes you think you're going to have a good relationship with your kids. Alongside taking pictures of those things, my mom accused me of doing drugs and filming inappropriate content that can't go on YouTube in a word that I can't say in this video, which was so far from the truth. She was reaching at anything she could. I've never touched a drug in my entire life. It's not who I am. She also called CPS on me and my sister twice. Each time CPS showed up to our house, they saw that I was fine. My mom only did those things to just get at me. She never did anything productive to try and help resolve her relationship with her kids. And every time my mom would try to do the right thing, take one step forward, she would end up taking 2 steps back and follow it up with something like this. Other things that she did when I lived with my mom was put cameras all over the interior of the house to watch me, to track me. She put a camera in her room. I don't know why. She would invite random men over to the house, but one day I showed up at the house and one of them was yelling at me. My mom was so paranoid about everything that was going on. She would put baby powder at the foot of her door to see if anyone of her kids would walk in her room. One day I tried to come home to the house that I was living at with my mother, and she had barricaded the door so I couldn't get inside. There's the picture to prove it. This video would be way too long if I actually said all the reasons why I made the decisions that I did. I actually sat down and made a list of 47 reasons, 47 different things that my mom did to me to drive me in this direction. I don't have the time right now to share all those reasons with you guys. So now, with all that being said, let's go to the other things that I said that I would come back to. Let me start with something important. I did not agree to be in the documentary. They never had permission to use my likeness or image, and they did not pay me. The producers contacted me and sent me this release for them to use my likeness and my image. I never signed it, and then they did it anyways. And they did not have my permission. They also did not have permission to use me in any of the promotional materials. I also did tell the producers that I would not feel comfortable participating in the documentary if it took the direction that I believed it would take, which it did. I also do not agree how Netflix portrayed the events, especially relating to my mom. And for the record, it is of my personal belief and my legal counsel's opinion that this violates my publicity rights under the California Code. So whenever they used my name and my face in the promotional material, it misrepresented who I am and gave the impression that I agreed with my mom's version of the events. As far as Tiffany manipulating me, I majorly disagree with a ton of Tiffany's actions. But I have not been in contact with her. She's not been in contact with me. She's not manipulating me. She's not manipulating me to make this video. I did this because of the actions my mom took and how badly she hurt me, my family, and my sister as well. So to be very clear, Tiffany was never involved in any of our family issues. I don't even know how she would have been. So my mom saying that in the documentary was also a big lie. And to make the record very clear, Tiffany is not the reason why I don't have a relationship with my mother. My mother is the reason why I don't have a relationship with my mother, because of her actions. Lastly, I want people to understand that I fully support survivors of SA, and my heart goes out to every survivor, and I feel for every single one of you. And I'm not making this video to discredit anyone who has gone through that. That is not my intentions at all. That being said, I personally did not have that experience, and I don't want to be placed in that narrative without my consent. And to close all this out, there's a lot more to this story, but I want to thank all of my supporters out there who have been with me every step of the way and who have watched me grow up. Please don't go out in my comment sections or anywhere else after this and spread hate to my mom or to anyone else. Even though these things are true, my mom does not deserve that. There's been a lot of you in my comment section telling me to go call my mom. Reconciliation will happen on my time and my family's time. And to my mom, I still have love in my heart for you. I don't know who you have become, but I miss the mother I knew when I was young.